Hi everyone, thank you so much for returning to the channel. I know it has been a minute since I have hopped on YouTube and have been throwing some information about criminal law. For those of you visiting for the first time, my name is Corrin. I'm owner of Lucid Legal Support, which is a freelance criminal paralegal business. And in today's video, I want to talk about the importance of terminology when you're working in the criminal legal system. So obviously the criminal legal system is very big. There's various different agencies that work within it, such as police, prosecution, courts, judges, probation, parole officers, independent case managers, and corrections officials. And part of the legalese is knowing not only what the terms mean, but also the abbreviations and the shortening of words. And I think when you're first coming into this, my paralegal program didn't really touch on criminal law at all. Maybe other programs do. I'm sure if you're an attorney or coming from a JD background, if you take specific criminal law classes, they would touch on this a little bit more. But the important thing to remember is that every jurisdiction is different in the type of abbreviations, shortening, and kind of legalese that they use. So the importance of knowing criminal terminology is that it ensures clear communication between you, the attorneys, and different criminal legal stakeholders in the system. It also prevents misunderstandings that could affect the outcome of the case, and that different legal terms have precise meanings, so misusing them could result in quite an error. So just as a quick example, there's many different types of dispositions on a case. You're going to need to know the differences between a conviction, dismissal, the case that gets vacated, acquitted. All those are a type of case disposition, but they are all different. And I do have a free guide if you're interested on my website that does talk about the different types of dispositions for a criminal case. They're labeled very nicely, they give a definition, and they're just a nice cheat sheet to have if you're new to the criminal legal field, or if you just want something to reflect back on. That is all there. Feel free to go to lucidlegalsupport.com and get that picked up. So I want to go into more examples of legal terminology in the criminal legal system that you should know. The first is for police. So you need to know what an arrest is, what a warrant is, the different types of warrants. Is it a court order? Is it a search warrant? And depending on the charge, you need to know certain legal terms such as reasonable suspicion, probable cause, different types of evidence, testing, property, chain of command. All that is stuff I think that you can learn as you go, but if you're able to jump ahead on that, I think that is equally as important. And then again, each jurisdiction has their own terms and abbreviations that are going to be different per police department. In my line of work, I work in several different states, and within those states, there's several different counties and cities, and they all have their own way of doing stuff. So again, you just kind of learn as you go. It might seem overwhelming at first, but you will be able to get used to it. Another example of knowing the legal terminology is in court. We need to know the difference between any types of charges, pleas, verdicts, court orders, sentences, all of that stuff. Very important, whether you're attending court with the attorney or where you're reading any type of court documents. It's also very important to know that so that you can know the trajectory of the case. And most importantly, explain to the client what is going on and the status of their case. As a criminal paralegal, you most likely are going to be the person that's updating the client versus the attorney. And if you don't know what something means or you don't know how to figure it out, that is definitely a problem. So with all that being said, and knowing that there is a whole index and glossary of terms that you're going to have to learn and learn the new criminal law language, I do want to provide some helpful tips on how you can learn this information, apply it to the job, and be a top-notch paralegal. So the first way that you could do this is just look at documents and look at court records. When I was a court clerk a couple years ago before I became a paralegal, it was so helpful for me to learn how to read court records, read orders, read minutes, and get a feel for the different terms that are used and get the meanings of the terms and know how the trajectory of the case is going to go. So the more you can read, obviously writing stuff down, writing makes you remember something 7 times faster than typing it, but I definitely would start at the court record. And then when you are assigned to review anything from the police report, forensic reports, other reports that have terminology, make sure that you make a note of that, whether it's in a spreadsheet, on your notes, whatever keeps things organized, then you can reference that and refer back to that as well. Another way that you can learn criminal law terminology is that there are glossaries and dictionaries out there. Now, I don't know specifically for paralegals what the availability is. I do think that's more common for the attorney to obtain that, whether it's through their bar association. I feel like attorneys usually have those resources that then they can pass to paralegals. But if you're interested, I would definitely reach out to some law libraries. Law libraries are so underrated for having that information. But again, I think attorneys have access to those dictionaries, glossaries from very reputable sites that have more to cover for you to get to know the terms, abbreviations, and then shortening of words. And then what I can say is for you to attend trainings, webinars where criminal law is being talked about. And it doesn't just have to be geared towards paralegals. I've attended quite a few webinars and trainings for attorneys that have been even more helpful. Because again, as the paralegal, your job is to make the attorney's job easier. And if you don't know what attorneys need to know or what they need from you, that's a problem. So I highly recommend those as well. A lot of times if you join a paralegal association or even a national association, if it's not, paralegal specific, it's free or at a more cost-effective price, or you can get your law firm to pay for it and invest in that education if they don't have time to train you or you don't have time to just go through and read all these court records. And lastly, another way that you can learn proper criminal terminology is just lean on your colleagues, lean on students, lean on other people in your firm. If you have any questions for me, drop them in the comments, reach out to me on my website in order to reinforce understanding. So with that being said, rather than scour the web for all these different terms with police, courts, knowing the charges, knowing evidence, terminology, disposition, sentencing, corrections, all that stuff, I've created a guide for you guys that has all of that combined. You don't have to spend hours searching. You don't have to pay money on webinars or trainings. This has all the information at your fingertips for you to reference. And it is available on my website for less than $10. So if you're interested, hop on lucidlegalsupport.com. I also have some other freebies on my website if you're interested too for criminal law professionals that can help you. That is the whole reason I created this YouTube channel, to put out the word on criminal law for legal professionals. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for watching. It is so good to be back on YouTube after traveling and being crazy. I hope you guys had a lovely weekend, and we'll see you in the next one.